Hey everyone, today I want to talk to you about a company that has been a staple in the Midwest for nearly 2 decades, Raber Portable Storage. If you're in need of quality storage solutions, look no further. Whether it's a barn, shed, or garage, Raber has the largest selection of handcrafted storage structures in all of Indiana. Each building is made with care by experienced craftsmen, ensuring you get a product that not only looks great, but is built to last. And guess what? They stand by their workmanship with a fantastic 5-year warranty. What sets Raber apart? It's their commitment to customer satisfaction. From the moment you step into one of their many locations, their friendly team is ready to help solve your storage issues. Plus, they deliver up to 250 miles from their main office in Montgomery, Indiana. So if you live in Ohio, Kentucky, or Illinois, you need to give them a call. Now, let me tell you about the heart behind Raber Storage. It all started back in 2000 when they began building sheds full-time. The founder grew up helping his father construct barns with just gas-powered skill saw and a lot of determination. Today, Raber has grown into a full-fledged operation with dedicated staff, but that personal touch still remains. They treat every customer like family. So if you're ready to find perfect storage solution, visit Raber Portable Storage. They have Indiana locations in Bloomington, Seymour, Vincent, Spencer, Corydon, West Lafayette, Sellersburg, and Kokomo, and even Tilton, Illinois. So you'll never have to go too far for quality storage. And hey, we got a deal for you today. If you mention you heard it from the podcast, Rabers will give you $150 off your barn purchase. That's right. You save $150 off your purchase by just mentioning you heard it here on the podcast. So check out their website at raberportablestorage.com. That's raberportablestorage.com to learn more and find your nearest location. Trust me, when you choose Raber, you're not just buying a shed, you're investing in quality craftsmanship and service you can rely on. This show is brought to you by Zach's Creamery in Montgomery or Jasper, Indiana. Zach's Creamery was founded with creating a pleasant and memorable experience in mind. They strive to serve the most exceptional homemade ice creams and signature coffees in an exuberant atmosphere. Zach's has something for everyone, as he features several items for those with special dietary needs such as vegan, dairy-free, gluten-free, and no sugar-added, keto, diabetic friendly. Visit them today in Montgomery or Jasper, Indiana. You can dine in or drive through, but whichever way you choose, do not forget you can order online and have it waiting for you when you get there. Order online at zaxcreamery.com. That's Zach's Creamery, Z-A-X Creamery.com, and stop in at Montgomery or Jasper, Indiana. Is how you spend, save, and invest your hard-earned cash glorifying the Lord? Well, at Dominion Wealth Strategists, they believe that your finances should reflect your faith. As a distinctly reformed full-service wealth management firm, they are here to help you steward God's gifts wisely. From comprehensive financial planning to wealth-building strategies rooted in biblical principles, they offer their core services with no financial barrier to entry. Whether you're planning for retirement, building generational wealth, or just getting started, Dominion Wealth Strategists are here to guide you every step of the way. From baptism to burial, Dominion has you covered. Visit them at reformed.money. That's reformed.money, and take the first step toward financial stewardship that honors Christ. That's reformed.money. Please visit them today. Hello and welcome to the TC Cook Show on PH Media. I am TC Cook, and today I am here with Larry Carpenter III. He's an entrepreneur and investor. He's based in Southern Indiana, actually just one county away from me, which is exciting. Through Carpenter Enterprises, he oversees multiple businesses, including Carpenter Realty with 10 plus agents, Carpenter Rentals managing a monster 400 plus doors, and he continues to grow that. B&B Fitness with 2 gym locations, and Next Air HVAC and maintenance. He's actively developing Carpenter Title, building it independently after previously partnering in the title business. Alongside that, he's building Carpenter Coaching Group, and it's exciting. We're going to dive into that today. It's an educational platform teaching people real estate, business, wealth building strategies. Each year, he completes flips. And he adds 500 to 100 rental units every single year and focuses on revitalizing communities while also building content, coaching, and podcasts to inspire others. Above all, he's a Christ follower. He's a husband. He's a father. He's leader driven to create generational wealth, empowering people. And his goal is to scale toward that billionaire status. Guys, would you please welcome Larry Carpenter? Larry, thanks for joining the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
How you had time to jump on this show with all of that stuff you got going on is actually the incredible feat. Let's be honest, right? That's incredible. So it is much appreciated because I know with all that going on, of course, I'm sure you have a great team, but with all that going on, your time is very valuable. So I do appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, without doubt. Yeah, definitely busy time, but this stuff's important,
Yeah. So if you're in the local area and you're on social media at all, I would be hard pressed to say you haven't seen one of your ads, one of your closings, your whatever. You've literally saturated some of the social media market in the local area, probably even outside of that. And so I just want to kind of dive in a little bit. Tell some listeners who see all that stuff, but they don't really know really who Larry is and how he got started. Kind of tell a little bit about your upbringing, where you were born, and what drove you to begin to create businesses.
Yeah, so I grew up in Huntingburg, Indiana, and over the years of growing up, just kind of having friends at school and stuff, and just seeing people that I went to school with that were living, very good lives. They had nice homes, they had nice stuff, and I just kind of was curious to see, about how you could build those things. We didn't have a whole lot of money growing up. But my dad was an extremely hard worker. He had 3 jobs throughout my whole childhood. He'd have a morning paper route, full-time gig, and then he'd have part-time jobs in the evening and on the weekends. And so, I knew that there had to be something more than just hard work. There had to be something more out there. And so whenever I was in high school, I went and job shadowed somebody that had invested in real estate. They had a lot of job sites, things going on. Took me around for the day, and I started to see that there's potential in doing this stuff to create some wealth. The guy that took me around, he had some nice toys and different houses and things like that, and he had people working for him, and it kind of just caught my attention. And when I was a senior in high school, I worked with him and purchased my first rental house, and kind of started growing from there.
Yeah, that got your, I guess they call it like wetting your whistle, right? And it got you kind of primed to say, hey, this is possible. If I have this one, I could probably do 400 more, right?
Yeah, it was interesting, whenever I first bought that house, of course it had a tenant in it already. First thing that went out was the AC unit. Mm-hmm. And we had to get a HVAC guy out there to fix it, and it was a pretty hefty bill. And I was like, well, there's a little bit of money in that, obviously. And so started going to school for HVAC out of high school. Realized that pretty quickly that I didn't want to be in crawl spaces. I don't like heights, so I didn't want to be on top of roofs very often. And I decided that potentially wasn't really what I wanted to do full time. So then I started going to school for business.
Yeah. So did you end up graduating college?
Yes. Yeah. I've got a bachelor's degree in business management administration.
Yeah. Where'd you end up going?
I started off with Vincennes University, Jasper campus. I got my associates, and then I went to Capella University, which is an online school, to get my bachelor's.
Gotcha. Well, good for you, by the way. And you don't hear a lot of that, but you actually switched based off of what you thought you were going to be doing. And I'm sure some of that has helped today, but a lot of it you probably learned through trial and error, I'm guessing, and through watching other people, is my guess on that. And tell me if I'm right or wrong on that one.
Oh yeah, definitely. Trial and error. You just kind of learn to pivot throughout business and throughout life.
So your upbringing, watching your dad work really hard. You made a valuable point there that hard work is definitely important, right? No matter what you do, I think people have this weird myth that people who run businesses, well, they just hire all these people and then they do nothing all day, right? I personally have yet to find that person that runs businesses, multiple businesses, that doesn't work, right? We had that book that came out by Tim Ferriss a little while ago called The 4-Hour Work Week. The interesting part about that, and no shade towards him, I get it, but he worked way more than 4 hours promoting that book a week because he was on all these shows, all these podcasts, all these things, right? And so it wasn't necessarily a 4-hour week, and I understand what he was trying to get at and trying to do, but I think that has almost been kind of harmful in a social media age to a lot of people, thinking they can just, well, we're just going to start some LLCs, we're going to start some businesses, and then I can just be hands off and be on the beach all the time and not do it, not work at all. I'm guessing your experience is similar to what I'm talking about there.
Oh yeah. No, it's a lot of work, and it's a ton of work up front too, just to get things going. And once you get things going, you get a good business foundation started, then you start hiring people in to help you do the day-to-day tasks so that you can start working on growing your business. But it's constant work.
Yeah. So since we're on this, let's dive into that a little bit. Let's dive into the setting up your business, the learning it, the running it, the operating it, and then the moment that you start to bring other people into that. So even in your real estate, not just the rentals, but also the starting a real estate company to sell real estate, kind of talk about the hard times there of getting that going, getting that set up, and then when did you know, hey, I think I could actually scale this by bringing on a couple more people here?
Okay. Yeah. So with the rental properties, it was more of a part-time thing. So we'd have 10 to 20 doors, and I was working a full-time job doing sales, outside sales, and the wife and I would have to, do the clean outs ourselves, repainting units, and doing some construction stuff, in the evenings and the weekends. And, once we started to realize that, okay, our time's pretty valuable here, it's going to be harder for us to scale this anymore if we're constantly working in it. So then we decided to get a little bit of part-time help, a guy that was just doing it part-time for us in the evenings, on the weekends, cleaning out stuff, painting. And then as we grew it further, we ended up, purchasing somebody's portfolio, and they had 50 plus units. So that added a ton more to our scale. So then we was able to hire somebody full time to come on and work with us full time. And then as that kind of expanded, we added more help for him. And now we've grown it to where we have 60 plus employees across the companies. But, you got to start out small and kind of scale up. At first it's taunting to, think, man, I'm going to have to pay this individual to come on and work for us. And hopefully it works out to where, we continue to grow while having that extra expense as well. Mm-hmm. But as you expand and you get more people to help you, then you're able to use your time to grow the business and to, just expand into other areas. Yeah.
So the daunting part on that is I'm guessing that you had to somewhat take a pay cut in that business to hire someone, right? Because you have this money, you have it there, but you're not paying anybody, and maybe hardly paying yourself at the beginning, right? But you're not really paying anybody. So to take a pay cut, but that hope is that pay cut, if we're going to use that terminology, that pay cut will come back to you because you can then multiply your time. Now you can focus on searching for the units, searching for the tenant, that type of stuff, right? But you're not doing the cleaning, the maintenance. Maybe even at some point you're not chasing down the rents or things like that. You have someone else kind of helping with that, and helping with the sign up of them and all those things. But that pay cut has to be the daunting part, right? And then it's, hey, if there's no rent being paid because someone missed a month or whatever, because that happens, right? That happens all the time.
Oh yeah.
If there's none of that coming in, how am I going to pay this person? Because me not paying myself, well, I can make do because I've got another full-time job or I've got this or that, right? So I'm not scary, but how much did that play a part into that? A little bit of a fear, I'm sure, of just stepping out and saying, hey, I'm going to hire this person and it's going to pay dividends in the future.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where it feels like it's a risk that you're taking, right? You're risking making sure that you have the money and the funds available to be able to pay that individual, and risking the individual not working out, or risking the fact that you can't seem to gain the extra value without having to doing the work yourself and having somebody else do it. Which the value would be, gives you your time and to where you can grow it, in other areas. But yeah, I mean, I think that the biggest thing is just figuring out how to make it work, and taking a risk. It's huge because there's just so much opportunity out there that it's just inevitable that it'll work out.
You honestly, at some point, you cannot grow unless you're growing by people, right? There's no, you will always hit a break point.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the people that, come and work with you in your organization are your biggest assets in your company, for sure, by far.
How many employees across all your businesses do you guys have right now?
We have 60 plus employees across all of our businesses right now.
Good night. Congratulations, by the way. That's a big deal. I don't know if people understand that. It's a big deal.
Yeah. It's been a lot of fun, a lot of hard work, late nights, early mornings, and it's starting to pay dividends now, for myself and my family. The things that it's created for us, it's been magnificent.
So tell me a little bit about how you're able to hire, who you kind of choose to hire first in different businesses, and then how to find good people. That's tough, right? It's just tough. There's a lot of people that might sign up, but maybe they don't really want to work. They just want to get a paycheck, right? Company culture has to play a role in this, and trying to set that up on keeping the vision of that business moving forward, keeping the mission of that business moving forward, and getting everybody sold on the mission and the vision of, hey, here's where we're going, and here's what I can do for you. How did you begin to develop that over the years?
Yeah, I think over the years, the trial and error, whenever it comes to that as well. But the biggest challenge we have is, just finding key players and good people to come work, for the organization, within the organization. I think one big thing that we look for is people's morals. And, whenever we're interviewing with people, we kind of try to fill them out and see, what type of person they are, how motivated they are, what they're motivated by. Is always huge too. Everybody's motivated by different things. It may not be just motivated for the money that they're going to make within the job. It could be the culture of the business or various different things that, the company could offer them that they may be interested in more than pay. And so, just trying to learn people as you meet with them and things like that. It's just, that's important. In my eyes, that they're good people, and they have a huge work ethic, and they don't want to just come in and punch a clock. They kind of want to be a part of something that's big and great, and they want to be part of something that's going to make them feel good, at the end of the day.
Yeah. If you would, give me some examples of maybe some of the questions that you asked to kind of pull that out in an interview, because it's really hard, right? Whenever you just meet someone for the first time, or you kind of known them even, but sometimes you know them because maybe you play golf or you do this or whatever, right? But you don't actually really know them, and so you're trying to pull out some of those things. What are some questions that you guys have in your interview process to try to fish that out?
So a lot of times we'll ask them, what's the reason that they're looking for something different, and it kind of gives you an insight of why they may be leaving the other place of employment that they're working for.
Right.
And it also gives you a little bit of an idea of like what they're looking for within your company. So if you can find out what may be the reason that they're looking for something else is big. Another thing that, we try to find out is like, what's their goals? Like, what are they looking for within our company as far as their growth and their career? Where do they want to see themselves, in 5 years and things like that? Just those types of questions can really pull information, and you can kind of see where their mindset is, starting from the interview and then, day one of start till 5 years later.
Right. What are some of the key answers? And I don't want to give any potential employees some cheat codes here, but what are some key answers that when you hear it, you light up? You're like, ooh, yeah, this could be a good one.
I like to hear that they are interested in, potentially running job sites, being a leader. Different things like that really lights me up, because one of the biggest things that we're having right now is just getting more key players that can take over certain areas of the business. Mm-hmm. And if they can start with us fresh, within a couple of years, be, eager to take on a leadership role, that's something that really gets us fired up, because that's what we're needing, more and more of.
Right. Yeah, I've been on the journey myself of trying to figure out good ways to interview and to ask questions and trying to pull that out of people. I know people use personality tests and they use all kinds of different things, right? And I'm not knocking on all that. And some people have had great success with using that stuff. But if you've taken a few of those, how to kind of manipulate those to get the right result, right? And so I'm just, but I know of one company. It's a large company around here, and they have developed and kind of live and die on this, and literally have like a 98% retention rate. And so it obviously somehow is working for them, right? And now they have an incredible company culture. So once they get in there, and if they fit the culture, which that's what the personality test is trying to look for, right? But it sounds like your culture is definitely a driven, a personal responsibility type culture, where it's like, hey, take ownership, right? You're a leader, no matter what title you have inside of the company. You're going to be expected to lead whatever, even if it's answering the phones, right? Everybody's in sales,
right?
So how you answer the phone can directly affect whether we close a deal or not, and it does. So what are some of the people or books that you've dove into to kind of help develop you, and even as a better leader, as a better CEO of these different businesses? What are some of those go-tos for you?
I do a lot of YouTube, where I follow a lot of these business gurus, right? Like the Grant Cardones and Bradleys and individuals like that have been in business for a while. They have ran successful businesses, and they have grown substantially over the last several years that I have followed them. And I kind of just follow and watch what they're doing, and it kind of helps me to understand what I should be doing within my business.
Yeah.
And one of them is, family values. I see that a lot of these hugely successful business individuals, their values within their family and their culture is the most important thing, and I can see how that has helped them exponentially grow their business over the years.
Yeah. he's newer as far as on blowing up on social media, but I think of a guy like Andy Elliott, right? And again, like him, hate him, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing that he has that you always see is his family's always with him, right? His wife is next to him. He brings his kids on stage. His kids are in the office getting, they're going through school in the office, right, and doing things like that. And so you just see this integration, and that way you're not separating. Well, I've got work today, I've got this, and you're separating your life, but you're integrating it. Grant Cardone seems to be doing the same thing from the outside, right? Looking in, his family seems to be heavily involved in his business, and so that's something that I've tried to figure out myself, is how to integrate family into everything that we do, right? So that way I'm not segregated apart from that. So I'm guessing that your wife is probably instrumental in a lot of stuff that you do as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. My wife's involved in a lot of our business decisions. She's involved in the office. She kind of helped from the beginning. She was in the property management part of it, so she was dealing with all the tenants that were coming in as we were growing. And then now we have my daughter. She works for us full time in the office, and she's a property manager now. And so that's been fantastic. She moved out of the house actually, I'd say 2 years now. And I was, a little nervous about it. I was like, man, I'm not going to see her very often. Well, then she started to work for us. And now I see her way more now than I did ever before. So it's a really good feeling to have your family involved with your work, because, your family is who you trust the most, and so having that within your business and being able to have your work-life balance within, it just makes it that much easier to, put in longer days.
Yeah. I actually, I've come to find out there's no such thing as work-life balance. It's just life, right? and that's what it is. And so that's why that integration is important to figure out, because it is just life, and you don't want to be spending, 12 hours a day apart all the time, and because that's not gonna bode well for your family. You also, one of the things, anybody who starts a business, they always have a goal of, if they have a family, of their kids or something, taking on a piece of it, being a part of it somehow, some way. And again, nobody forces that, or they shouldn't, but that's definitely always a goal, right? And so that's good to hear. That's exciting for me to hear from you, that's what you guys are doing, and because I think that's kind of it seems like that's a staple of a lasting company, right? Is that family and a lasting marriage, right? Because it'll take a toll.
Yeah, absolutely. When you're growing something like that, it's a lot of hours involved.
So what role does your faith play in your business, and how you make decisions, how you do things in company culture, or any of the above? What role does that play?
It plays a huge role. I think that brings your values and your beliefs and those types of things. If if you have a strong faith and you follow Christ, I feel like that your values are always meant in the positive. So, whenever you're working on a project and you're having a hard day or whatever, you know that to do the right, when it's time to do the right thing. And I think that's huge to have within the company for sure.
Well, what would you say has been your greatest challenge as you've been growing and building and creating new opportunities, new businesses? What has been your greatest challenge?
I say one of the biggest challenges that we have right now is, again, just, getting key players into place, and also being able to understand that I myself and some other leadership in our company need to learn to be able to delegate tasks to others, and trust that they will learn the process, or, do the process and get things accomplished. And that's always been a tough thing for me, is I've always had a hard time with delegating things to other people. And I think that's been our biggest challenge here lately, is just being able to put more trust, get more people that can take over some of those leadership roles.
Yeah, yeah. So how fresh, how new is the coaching side of things as far as launching to the public?
So the coaching thing, it's been one of those things that I've wanted to do for a good while now. And I kind of just started to really realize that I want to spend more time doing those things. Where, over the past few years, I've helped a lot of individuals get into real estate investing, start purchasing rental properties and purchasing flip houses. And they were successful with it. And the way that they lit up whenever they would do a deal and they would make a little bit of money, or they would do a deal and they're going to get some cash flow every month for themselves and their family and build some equity into something, it just really sparked something within me. And I was like, this is something that I really want to do, And I follow a lot of coaches and different things. And I was like, I think this is something that I really want to do, going into the future. And so that's whenever I decided to go ahead and start working on it more heavily, get the name going. We're working on building out our courses that are interactive courses. So you sign up for our courses, it'll be like I'm there with you in the computer screen, and there'll be questions that pop up. Based on how you answer them will be how I respond. Different things like that to make it more entertaining while you're learning. And we are going to grow that into where I want to do masterminds where we can bring people into our location and show them things that we do and how we've done it. And then I also want to get into where I can go out into other people's market and help them get started in their own market, things like that. So I just have a strong passion and trying to help people get into this investing and business world, because it's been so fantastic for myself and my family that helping other people get into that is definitely something that I really enjoy.
Yeah, it's funny because whenever you put yourself out there, you can automatically know there's going to be some hate come your way, right? And so to tune out that noise, because there's people who will jump on and they're serial course buyers, if you will, but they're not serial doers, right? And so the goal isn't, hey, just buy my course and then learn it and set on it, but the goal is, hey, buy my course and use it, and then it can transform your life, it can transform your family, and then passing that knowledge through hardships, experience, great times, good times, all that's passing that knowledge to the next generation or the next entrepreneur, right? That's thinking about this. To me, is a big thing. And so no hate from me, by the way. I love it. I think it's fantastic. And because there are people that you're not going to be able to teach or train in your like literally at your business at that, or even just on the phone because of time, right? So right. Taking that, making it into a course so that way it can span a lot of people and a lot of people can gain from it is super intelligent, super smart thing to do. And then you never know, right? Through that, you might find those good key leaders that say, hey, like I want to be in this, but I don't necessarily want to start my own thing. Do you have a spot open at your place, right? And right. So it's a great way to find other people, and because not everybody, by the way, not everybody's called to go out and start their own complete thing. They're not. Right. I think everybody can do it, but I don't think everybody's called to do it. And I don't think that everybody is supposed to. I heard, I don't know if you know Patrick Bet David, you probably do if you're on social media and all that stuff, but he has a guy named Tom who's the second in command for his businesses and stuff. And Tom's super intelligent, super bright. And Tom said this, he said he's never made more money in his life than when he was number 2, 3, 4, or 5 in a company. He started multiple companies, all this stuff, but he never made more money money than whenever he was the number 2, 3. And it took him a while to figure out that, hey, my niche is actually being that support and helping grow a business from within, not being the main person. Because you know this just as well. The main person also is thinking about, am I going to make payroll? Is thinking about, am I going to meet my bills? Am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? While thinking, hey, I've got 60 plus employees that are counting on me to put food on their table. Right? They're counting on me to have these things available, the work available, the money available coming in. So sometimes when you are the number 2, number 3, number 4, you don't necessarily go home with that stress, right? There's always stress, but you don't necessarily go home with that. And so I think it's great. And have you launched that completely yet, or is it like soft launch and still growing, or where are you at with that?
Yeah, so we've kind of got like it's a soft launch right now where we're trying to get people excited about it, signing up. And if you sign up early, you get a major discount for signing up early. And just trying to get the word out there, let people know that it is coming.
Right.
And it's getting closer and closer. We've got a lot of the courses already recorded, and we're just doing our due diligence and making sure everything's edited correctly, make sure it's a good experience for the end user.
Yeah. Larry, what would you say, after all said and done and you pass away from this earth, what do you want people to remember Larry Carpenter for?
I think that what I would like for people to remember me for is someone that was a hardworking family man that really cared about the people that he worked with, the people that worked for him, and the people that he worked with. And I think one thing that would be something that I would like for people to remember me by is that I was caring and that I wanted to see other people grow, and I wanted to be of some kind of help in that aspect if I could.
That's good. That's really good. So if I could sum that up, a lot of it is being a really good leader, right? Because leaders aren't just the one with a title behind their name always, right? But a leader actually does care about the people that they work with, they work for, whether it's person buying a house, person renting a house, whatever, right? Person grabbing your coaching programs. That's who you're working for, right? You're wanting them to have a good home, to have a great experience with that, to make it easier for them to grow in their things. So what then would you say, as far as you're concerned, actually defines good leadership?
A good leader, I feel like, is somebody that was able to show people the right way and lead them in the direction for success. And, not necessarily be someone that was pushing, but someone that was pulling and helping bring somebody to a level that they had the ability to be. And I think it's somebody that truly helps someone would be a leader.
Is everybody called to be a leader?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
So if you're not a leader, then what are you?
I feel like if you are not a leader, you could be somebody that is a servant or somebody that helps serves. That's a great question. Yeah. I like to say that everybody is called to be a leader, but not everybody has the same responsibilities, right? And if you're a front desk person and you're answering the phones, you're called to lead in that spot. Right? You're like where your feet are, where you're at, that's where you're called to lead. You think of a mom who maybe stay-at-home mom, maybe she doesn't have a job or anything like that. Well, she's called to lead in that house while she's there, right? You think of a husband, right? Obviously called to lead his family and do that. So and even though they might go to work and be, just be a quote unquote hireling, right? Or whatever the terminology would be, right? Or an employee, they're still called to lead
somewhere, right? And so, but no matter what you're doing, whether you're the janitor or not, you're called to lead in that spot. And I think if people, just like I said, everybody's in sales. I think we would both agree on that. Everybody in a company's in sales.
Oh yeah.
When you sign the contract or you accept a paycheck, you are called to promote that company by how you act, by what you say, by how you carry yourself, all the above, right? On or off the job, even, because even off the job, if you're a jerk, that actually plays back to the company, right? And because they're going to know that, hey, John Smith over here, well, he's constantly just a jerk online, or he's this online, and he works for Larry Carr. Did you know he worked for Larry Carr? All that stuff, right? And I don't think in our culture we have that level of self-responsibility and awareness of that, because we just think we're there to get a paycheck, right? That's kind of how we've been taught, and but we're not actually called. We don't think we're called to actually help and lead where we're at, and that doesn't mean that you're making all the decisions. That's not maybe your responsibility, but you do have responsibility where you're at. So you see trash, you pick it up, right? In the office, the toilet paper's out, you put the toilet paper on it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that hard, right? And and you put it on correctly. You don't put it on backwards and where it's hard, right? That's a whole debate. But yeah, yeah, and so that's kind of something that I'm really fleshing out and working on even more, and giving talks to different groups or whatever, is the fact of everyone is a leader where their feet are, right? And they're leading, and you lead by your actions, you lead by your words, you lead by all of it. So I'm sure that's something that we don't always. I've spent some time thinking about. So not everybody has spent time like trying to figure all that out, right? And I could be wrong, but that's kind of where I'm at on that. But I'm guessing, even if you haven't maybe articulated or thought about it, your businesses are probably ran in that factor, right? Of that kind of taking ownership wherever you're at.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I really like that. Yeah, I think that you're exactly right whenever you say that everybody's a leader, and they're a leader in their own way, right? Or in their own position. And how you carry yourself and how you do different things really can show, how great of a leader you are in that area.
Yeah, we've all been through like a fast food joint or something like that, and the person taking the order or whatever is, you can tell they do not want to be there, right? Like, you can tell it. And then we've gone through like a play, and you can tell like the person talks with joy, and you can hear it in their voice, and they're doing, and it's like that person has taken on, even if they're just an hourly employee at the fast food joint or whatever, they've taken on an aspect of leadership in their role, right? By just actually making your experience better by their smile, by the way they talk, instead of, hey, what can I get for you? Okay, yeah, we can do that. Yeah, anything else? You want something else? And it's like, well, good grief, no, I don't now. You know what I mean? Like those things happen, and it's very off-putting in a good way whenever you find that employee that in a restaurant or whatever that has that type of attitude, because you catches you off guard because you're not used to it. That's the sad part. We're not used to it, right? We're not used to people giving excellent service or making you feel like, hey, I actually care that you're here today, and so yeah, I think our culture needs to shift in that aspect very much, and maybe it will. And I think it starts with guys like you, running these businesses, hiring people, creating jobs for people, creating ways for people to grow, and having that. I don't even want to call it extreme ownership, because it should just be ownership. It shouldn't really be extreme. It should just be the norm, right?
Right. Yeah. I agree with you 100% there. It's like you can tell a big difference whenever you go somewhere, whether it's a restaurant or whatever, whenever you are working with someone that's exceptionally great at their position within that organization. And 100%.
Yeah, it actually doesn't take much to stand out in this day and age. Just a little smile, a little care goes a long way. And again, that's the sad part, right? That goes a long way. But it doesn't take much to stand out. And so inside of your businesses, what are some of the the things that you're trying to do to create a better culture inside of your work environment, and even just empowering your employees more?
Yeah, we're trying to do more and more things all the time to kind of just keep the morale up within our organization. Every week there's like a special holiday day, I guess you'd say, like a cookie day or whatever. And we'll go out to the job sites and give, all the guys a cookie or whatever, take photos, post them up on, our social media, and, just showing that the gratitude that we're extremely happy with, the stuff that they're doing for us. And it shows that they're happy doing it, and that, that we care. And, be able to show that to other people that, may be interested in coming to work for us, or maybe interested in what we have to offer, whether it's one of our rental properties, or whether they want to use us to buy or sell real estate. If they could see that we're out there to make sure that everybody within our organization is, have great, are extremely happy and doing great things, then I think it's a positive thing, and it brings people to want to do business with us.
Yeah. And little things seem like they can go a long way, right? And because again, it's just showing, and what you're talking about is just showing that you care about your employees, because you said it at the very beginning. Good employees are the lifeblood of any business. Good people are the lifeblood of anything, and without them, the mission of what you're trying to do can't be accomplished, because you need them, and then they need a place to work, right? And no one wants to work at a place they hate, and or someone who hates them that they work for, right? And
Right.
nobody wants that, and so everybody's kind of searching for that, and so trying to create that environment, that's incredible. And obviously, if you have 60 plus employees, that's a lot of people to think about. It's a lot of people to care about, and as you grow even more, like now with the coaching business and stuff, you're as that grows, you'll probably have to bring on more people to kind of help with all the intake of calls and all the different things that are going to happen, and so if you bring on more doors, well, that means more people, right? That you're going to have managing those and all the above, and you always, I'm sure, have the opportunity to bring on more agents in the real estate game as far as selling, and so yeah, it's not 60 plus isn't going to stop. That plus is going to grow, and it'll be 70 plus before you know it, and then who knows where it can go. So what advice would you give? So if you're sitting there and you've got an 18-year-old looking into starting a career in something. Maybe they're not starting their own business, but they're wanting to just start a career in something. Maybe they are wanting to be an entrepreneur. Maybe they are wanting to start their business. What advice would you give an 18-year-old? Hey, here's a way to think, or here's something to think about when you're getting your journey started.
Okay, I'd say one piece of advice that I would give somebody that's 18 and they're looking to maybe be an entrepreneur and get into business would be to kind of follow your passion. What are you excited about? What makes you excited? I think that will go a long way, because if you're working towards something that makes you excited and kind of gets you up in the morning, and you're excited to go to work, or you're excited to go work on this project, that's really what's going to catapult you into a successful business. I feel like that is probably one of the biggest pieces of advice that I'd give somebody, is to make sure that they follow their passion and they really get into something that they enjoy doing.
Yeah. Do you think money is always a driver?
I think money is definitely a driver, but it's not the end all be all. I think money is definitely very important. It does a lot of things. It can keep your health good. It can do all kinds of things. Money does a lot of things. But I feel like if you're working in a business that, you may be bringing in a lot of money, but you're just not real excited about it, or you're not real passionate about it, it would be a drag. If you're working in a business that you're more passionate about, you're excited about, you may not be making as much money, but you're living the life, living the dream. You're happy every day you wake up and get to go do the next thing. So I don't think money is everything, but it definitely is important.
Yeah, yeah. And money's 100% a tool, right? And it's part of how the world's set up. It's part of how America's set up. That doesn't mean that money always equals happiness. Like you said, you could be in a job making 250, 300,000 a year and just dread every day you wake up and have to go in, right?
Right.
And maybe it's the responsibilities or whatever that's put on you, or the high level of stress. Who knows? Or maybe you just don't like it. And but so yeah, money. What you're saying is money doesn't always equal happiness, but it is a tool, right? And it can open up opportunities and doors, and not only just for yourself, but I'm guessing others. Like you're dumping money right now into this coaching and leadership training, right?
Right.
That's not free. You didn't just get it handed to you and didn't have to pay anything or have this, but like it cost, and you wouldn't be able to do that unless you had the means and the other businesses that are helping to fund that get off the ground. I'm guessing I'm hitting the nail on the head on that.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's one thing too. Is sometimes it takes a lot of hard work in the beginning. Maybe doing some things that you're not too excited about, so that you can get some funds available, so that you can start pouring it into yourself and to things that you are passionate about, and then be able to pivot into more of your passion as you've gained the funds to do it.
Yeah, I like that. What has been one of the largest mistakes that you've made in growing your business?
It's a good question. I'd say one of the largest mistakes that I've probably gone through with growing the business would be a lot of times you put a lot of trust into people. I've had some partnerships that didn't really work out the greatest. And I think that, you definitely want to do your due diligence before you go into business with somebody, and make sure that you guys are both on the same page as far as your work ethic or your values. And, I think that that's been some mistakes, but you learn from your mistakes. Your mistakes that you take on in business. It's something that is kind of like a course. You go through all these different hurdles and challenges, and but then you learn from them, and you know not to do them again.
Yeah. What's been the greatest achievement then that you would say in your businesses that you've accomplished thus far? Because I'm sure there's big goals ahead, but as far as thus far, what has been some of the biggest successes or achievements?
I think one of the biggest achievements and successes that I can kind of think of just right now from you saying that, whenever I took the leap from, I had a corporate sales job, which I was making very good money, and I was growing this realty business. I decided that once I started getting a team of agents that were working for me, that it was time for me to really put my efforts into that business and into them, and take the leap and cut the cord, and leave in the corporate sales position that I was in. That was an extremely difficult thing for me to do, because I really did enjoy doing that job. And
Oh, Larry, you still there?
taking the leap and the risk, and once I did it, I was extremely glad that I did.
Yeah. So I'll have to edit this out, but it cut out on me. It was on my end for some reason. The last thing I heard was it was really hard because you really enjoyed that corporate job, right? So that was one of the last things I heard. So if you could maybe start from there. So it was really hard to leave that corporate job.
Yeah, it was really hard to leave that corporate job because I was making a good living. I enjoyed doing it. But whenever I realized that my team that came to work for the company could use my time to help them grow, and I could use that time also to grow my business.
Yeah.
Once I realized that I needed to make that leap, and then I did it, within 30 days after doing it, it was the best decision I made.
30 days.
Yeah, within 30 days. It was crazy how fast my mind shifted, because I was scared to death. You know, I was scared to stop that because, you know, I have family and that I'm trying to raise, and you know, I like to keep food on the table and things. And I knew that if I cut that cord, that guaranteed funds was gone. You know, so I knew that I had to jump all in. And when I did, man, that totally opened up so many opportunities. So many more opportunities came my way, and it was by far the best decision.
Yeah. Last question. What do you want to leave the listeners with? And then how do they get to know all the stuff you have? How can they find you? So what do you want to leave them with, and how can they find you?
I like to leave them with that, you know, I'm out there I want to help people be successful in business and investing in real estate, different things like that. Also be interested in, I love just working with the public, you know. So reach out if you've got something that's community events or anything like that. Would love to be part of that. You know, and I think there's just so much opportunity within the community that, you know, just being out there and communicating with people is huge. The ways that you can reach out to us, you can reach out to me through social media. We got Instagram, Facebook, all those. You can get onto our website, carpenterrealty.com, or go to carpentercoachinggroup.com, get signed up with some of the coaching. And yeah.
Awesome. Larry, I just appreciate you so much. Thanks for coming on here. There was a lot of good information, a lot of good things that I think the listeners can grab from. Anybody who is out there looking to continue to develop, continue to grow themselves, and whether it's leadership, whether it's knowledge in sales or real estate or whatever, you gave a lot of good nuggets in there for people. So I appreciate that. Appreciate you out of a busy day taking your time just to jump on here for us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Well, guys, as always, if you appreciated this show, listen, the only thing we ask is that you share, make sure people hear it, make sure they get out and listen. You can comment if you have any questions. If there's any questions for Larry, I can feed them to him. Just drop them in the comments. I'm sure he would love to answer anything you guys had. But as always, guys, we love you. We appreciate you, and we'll see you again next time.